I'll have on the podcast next.
But no, but listen, I try to, and look, I'm human, of course, there are certain thought patterns that come in.
Yeah,
like I try and live my life from a place of presence, but I always ground myself. If I'm getting caught up in something, I always remember, like, how lucky am I to be able to get dressed? How lucky am I to
And
be
you have
able
no
to walk?
residual injuries?
Well, say nothing that's holding me back.
Okay.
And I believe, honestly, Ross, I think a huge part of healing is our mindset.
Yeah.
From
Definitely.
tragedy. And I would, there's certain attitudes they talk about in mindfulness. And I believe if we can be more aware of them, like stuff like gratitude, acceptance, like non-striving, letting go, it can be really health enhancing. I think.
Yeah, well, I think if you start the day, no matter what, with a bit of thankfulness, gratitude, it sets the mind on a different path for the day, no matter what happens. If you start the other way, you go down and down in a spiral, which doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. But I think overall, Rossa, what that experience has done for me is, like, I really, really honor my life by living it to the full and embracing it as best I can. And I had a really emotional moment walking at Christmas. We have a little tradition. We go to an Italian called Azzurro here in Dumfries. It's absolutely delicious if you're ever down.
Yeah.
But we walked up to our house afterwards, and I was kind of feeling a bit apprehensive about it because I had to walk by where my accident happened. And, I haven't done that many times at all. And anyway, it was actually a moment I will never forget, because we were walking up the road and Eugene was holding my hand on one side and James, my little boy, was holding my other hand. And I was walking by it and I just felt so many different emotions in that moment, and we walked up anyway to the house, and then a couple of nights later we were out with friends and my babysitter's boyfriend collected us. And this wasn't as nice of an experience, but I still just got on with it. So we were in a pub near where it happened, and he wouldn't have known like what happened or where it happened. And he rang and said he was outside, but he was actually parked in the exact place that my accident happened.
Yeah.
And when I went out, I felt sick in my stomach because I had to walk there to get into the car. And I just felt like maybe me and my signs, I was like, maybe this is just to show you can do it. Because, I've had, one of the firemen that helped me has said to me before, would you like to just come down with me and we can talk through what happened? But I'm just like, no, I just don't want to be anywhere near where it happened. But the fact, I guess, I got into the car and I went home, but Jesus, it took a lot out of me, so it just shows me my body, my body remembers. But thank God, through my mindfulness work, Rossa, I meet them moments in myself, them delicate moments, them vulnerable moments with compassion, as much compassion as I can.
And has music helped you along the way? Is any song or sounds accompanying your journey that give you strength rather than take you the other way?
Absolutely. I would say there's two coming to mind at the moment, and the first one is Songbird by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
I love that song, and it's one that I would return to, again and again. And I think another one that's on my mind this week, and it's because it's Derek's anniversary, it is In the Arms of an Angel, Sarah McLachlan. So
great voice that one has.
Yeah, it's lovely. I feel like putting it on now. I probably will afterwards. But, Ross, I think this time last year in January, I actually really struggled through the month. Like, I was working and everything, but I felt really, really low. It's like it just got in on me so much because, do you know one thing I have learned, to do even more throughout the last year? And it's resource myself, even in my grief, in my sadness around my brother. I would be able to discern now whether I want to think about certain things around, what happened to him. And I really watch my mind before I go down a lane of, thought that will only make me sadder. So it's like I can just pull myself back from it and just connect into the present moment and just be with what is now. and surrender the rest, because it just doesn't do me any good if I dwell too much on the sadness of it all. And, that's why I've made a real conscious effort, even like this month in January, to get out in nature, to get out running. And honestly, my body
you can
feels
still
a lot
run.
different.
Can you?
I can, yeah. Well, like I go through phases, but at the moment I am like, I'd be able to pinpoint now, with my finger exactly where my fractures are.
Okay.
Like there's no doubt about it. Like my body does feel very different. It looks different. But for me, the main thing is that I'm here, Rossa, and that I can walk. And what a gift that is. It's a gift that something we all take for granted, I think. But when I think about how different things and life could have been for me and my family.
Yeah, they say there's no joy down that road. What could have been didn't happen.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the mind, you have to, what I hear you saying in a funny way, which I learned myself, is don't go down those rat traps of what could or might have been, because they actually chew up the day.
They absolutely do. And I don't think much good comes from it.
No.
And it's not
you go
denying
around
what happened. But I have too much, I think. I really want to just honor the time that I have here and, the rest of the time, and really try and protect myself in it and make the most of my life.
And in closing, what words, wisdom is not the right thing, what words would you say to people who have gone through different things that you would say to them to give them a bit of a hope or inspiration or belief?
Yeah, I think, Rossa, what I would say is every single one of us has an inner light inside of us. And, it can feel like that light goes out at certain times through different setbacks, through, heartache, accidents, maybe loss. But that light is always, always in there, and you can access it. How I have accessed it is by connecting with nature, by bringing energy, like good energy into my life, like through the sea, through movement, through exercise, by eating well, by making choices, making skillful choices around what will, benefit me in the long run. And just remember, if you're listening and you're going through a hard time, what I would say, do not give up on yourself. You were put on this earth for a reason. And the healing you need is out there. So just, back yourself, believe in yourself. And if your inner voice is one of disempowerment, that's one thing I would say now. I really, really have an inner voice of strength, of courage, I really back myself, Rossa. I really believe in myself. I really pay attention. Do whatever brings you joy. Read. Something I have found most healing in my life is actually what they call bibliotherapy, like reading books. Try new things, like reflexology, massage, going on new trips. All of these can bring a bit more vitality into our lives. Just try something different, but do not ever, 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 ever give up on yourself. You are worthy. You are here for a reason. That is why, you landed on planet Earth. That's why I say we're all here for a reason. And maybe part of the journey is figuring out what that reason is. I'm not sure, but I would, it took me years to get to the place I am now. But one thing I really admire, Rossa, about myself is I didn't give up. And I've been in really dark places, but I'm so grateful.